Let's turn the reverb off. I'm going to try to do everything about the Liproll inside this one live stream right now. Okay. The Liproll. That's what it sounds like by itself. That is the Liproll. Then you have the inward Liproll, where you're breathing in. You're using your lungs. The first one you weren't. Second one you were. So when I talked to Dilo about this, he said the first one would be a level 1 sound. It's just air inside your mouth. A level 2 sound is using your lungs. A level 3 sound is a power sound. And the Liproll is kind of more of a power sound. I don't really know. He didn't explain super well the difference between those two. But you can't really do it comboed with other sounds at the same time. So maybe, but you can. So I'll explain that here. You've got a lot of different variations on where you can put your tongue when you're doing this, and that changes like how open your mouth is and your soft palate, whether it's lifted or not. That changes all these sounds. So you got like all that is just the difference in those 1, 2, 3. Wait. Yeah, I'm just making like a different sound in the side of my mouth, and you're hearing it here. I could get into some of like the anatomy of what's happening here. When you talk, you've got your pharynx and then your larynx, and down here you have your vocal folds, and they're just flopping away. And if I'm humming like that note, whatever note that is, I don't have perfect pitch, so let's see. That's somewhere close to C, maybe C sharp, C4, or that's what that would be. That was C3, 4, C4, somewhere in there. I think I could be wrong. Whatever. Someone will check this later. That means that is humming about 200 times, 256 times. I'm forgetting all the numbers here. Whatever. That is what's happening here. They're just vibrating really fast. And if you were to try to talk and your head was cut off right above your vocal folds, it would just sound like just a flopping whatever. All the rest of what's going on, so just right there, it's just everything else is happening up in here. All of the other types of sounds that are happen with where your tongue is placed, where your soft palate is, what your lips are doing, your teeth, how open your jaw is, all of those things. And, depending on your sinuses and just different construction of your face, that changes all of the other sounds. If you have a stuffy nose, you sound different. You sound differently than you would otherwise. Adverbs. So with the Liproll, you're just moving the oscillator from here up to here. That's why it has that like the same sound that this would make. The Liproll is inward, so I'm breathing air in. And if I do just a quick little, just the Liproll itself, that's just a pressure sound. So I can go. Anyway, that is level 1. Level 2, and that was pulling air in and then pushing it back out for them. And you can do the same thing just with more air. So you're using your lungs to make more air pass by, and it makes it a little bit more powerful. Hey, it looks like we have some people in the broadcast right now. Oh, hi. Thank you. Fatima Al-Gahamdi. I hope I said that correctly. Thanks for being here. If you guys have any questions about stuff, you can throw them in the comments down here. So for the Liproll, that's where I was. You can turn that into any other type of, well, I guess you can control the pitch of it by how tight this is. Same with you have muscles that are pulling your vocal folds, like allowing them to relax and then pulling them tighter, and that makes your voice get higher. Same thing here. If I pull these muscles to make my lip tighter, the Liproll goes higher. So this is the lowest. Right? That's technically a Liproll. It's just really high. It doesn't sound super good. And that's all that's happening. You're just tightening an oscillator. So it's your top lip just flopping. There's also the bottom lip roll too. And for that one, I am able to get it a little bit higher, but not as low. And maybe that's just the length of the lip that's oscillating there. Maybe my top lip just has more beef to it. It's just a little more meat flopping. It's heavier. It's lower pitch. Who knows why? Anyway, a lot of different types of oscillators all over your face and in your skull. So let's think about some of these other things to make a lip roll sound like a sound. So there's the sub-bass lip roll, as they call it. So rather than it's, and you might have to have headphones in to hear that more clearly, but the sub-bass lip roll is, I'm doing the same thing. It's kind of hard to explain what makes it suddenly have less of the high frequencies. So I'm still hitting the same fundamental frequency. So those are the same notes. It's just the first one has more saturation, I guess you could say, if you know, like any sort of if you do audio production or post-production or anything with audio, some of these words might sound familiar, but like you have an oscillator and then you can increase the saturation or like whatever that, just the amount of high frequency information there is. And if you want to just only get the low frequencies, you have to do the sub-bass lip roll. And I think the way that I do it is just separating my lips a little bit more. So I'm just opening my mouth a little tiny bit more, but I keep the same tension. So it's just the ugliest face you can make. You just like that, right? And then I'm breathing in, and I let my mouth get a little closer until there's finally a little bit of flopping happening. And then if I go even more, so it's hard to get that difference there. I've been doing this for so long now, it's hard to remember what I did when I first learned this, like what the difference was. I probably have a video somewhere I could go find and try to recreate this. But so for the what am I trying to say? You have the lip roll, and then this is what I was going to say. For making like a stronger, like a punch sound, so a kick drum, you're basically going from high to low really fast. So for something like that, it's like just a pucker. And you know what? I'm going to backpedal a little bit. I'm going to backpedal a little bit. I'm going to... That's a hard thing to say. Sounds like I'm rapping. I'm going to backpedal and try some... or just explain a little bit more of like how to make the sound. So I've talked about like kind of why it works. But for the actual like face shape, what you're going to do is bring your jaw down, forward, and to... either side. I guess it changes. A lot of people, I'd say the majority of people that I know are left side lip rollers. So their jaw goes to the right side. And basically what you're trying to do is just bring it down all the way, show this big fish lip. And you're just trying to hang as much of this lip off your teeth as possible. Because like this, how much can oscillate? Not very much. It has to be like hanging over the teeth to be able to flop. And so if you have like super long teeth or like short lips, then this might be harder for you. And I know that because I had a deviated septum surgery and my lip got a tiny bit shorter and it made it harder to lip roll like from then on. Like that's why I have to pull my lip down like manually if I'm trying to hit the super low notes now. I used to be able to do that without. So, yeah, you've got this face right here and you just start breathing air in. And you can start off trying to make the first one. Like, I know when I talk to, and if you watch D-Lo's tutorials, he says he learned first before. For me, I learned first, and I kind of learned it the way that Napalm teaches it. He said just like make some kissy sounds, and then do that on the sides. Just if you can make kisses on the side and then slow it down. And just kind of slowly drop your jaw. You can get a little bit of that sound. And I'll give you an example on my right side because it's really hard to do both sides equally. I cannot do it nearly as well on my right side. So, like, that's what it might sound like when you first start doing it. And that's about as good as it might get for a while. Like that might be all it is. If there's any viewers in here, I'm going to be answering any questions about this. Oh, hello. Sister19 LOL online. I don't know how to view all my comments at the same time. Oh, there we are. Wow, yes. Is this the Beatbox? Wow. You guys are so nice. Thanks. Okay, so how do I get that to go away now? Or what was I saying? So for the kissy sound, I was doing it on the right side. Okay, let's go back to the left side. So you get the kissy sound, right? You slow it down. And then I noticed if I have that downward curl, then like you're going to want to look in the mirror probably if you try to do this. And if you see like, I notice a lot of people will bring their mouth to one side, like, and then try to do it on that side. Make sure you're doing it on the right side. Looking in the mirror helps. And if you see this distinct shape where you have like the majority of the lips over here, and then kind of curving, if it's curving down like this, that's like probably a good sign you're doing it right. And then humming so you know that I'm not breathing. It's just the pressure in my mouth. Okay. After I learned how to get different pitches out of that by itself, I tried to like have the sound go from here to here. Yeah, say yeah. After that, when I inhaled with it, that was kind of what unlocked it for me to be able to get the actual inward lip roll to go lower. And then you notice a lot of beatboxers do this lip roll face, that the eyebrows get real And my muscles kind of do that without trying. Even if I'm like intentionally making them not do that, I'll still accidentally, because I think a lot of these muscles are just activating. And it's hard to single that out. But anyway, so you might see some funny faces here. But okay, so that's the lip roll. Okay. Can you do like hollow sounds with this? So I'm not very good at all of the hollow sounds, and I've tried to get better, but it's something that I haven't really increased in the last 5 years of beatboxing. I haven't gotten too much better, but there's just a lot. I guess what I'm trying to say is there's a lot of variations. In fact, Andre Gibson from Canada, he does a really cool thing, which I can't do super well the way he does it, but I figured out a different way, and I was able to get it kind of close. He does a lip roll, and instead of lip to lip, it's lip to tongue. And it looks super ugly. It's the ugliest face that I could ever make beatboxing. And unless there's something better. If someone sees one, screenshot it and send it back to me so I know that that is the ugliest face I've ever made beatboxing. But I feel like this is. And if I do that, it's like vinyl scratch from the very lows to the highs. And when I actually am on a sound system, that's the one that sounds the most accurate. And that one was so cool when I first figured it out. And it's hard to kind of alternate between those two. Then the bottom lip roll is if I'm trying to do like if I'm holding a bass and go boom. That's what that one is used for, and I alternate between those a lot. There's like the napalm. Um, what do you call this? The flap. I think he calls it the flap. So I'm basically just doing. Yeah, I can't remember the routine he does with that, but the lip roll is touching my tongue, so I just kind of like my tongue in the way, and it slows it down and just makes it more flappy. It adds more saturation, and that's how I do it. I don't know if that's how he does it. I met him one time, and we did some lessons together. I actually joined his Patreon. I was like, I need to meet this guy, and he was showing me. I think we did talk about that, and if I remember correctly, that's kind of how he does it. But and then when Codfish does his finals thing, and it was like 2018 or 19 maybe when he beat D-Lo, the beat that he did, I think he uses that sound. So he's like something like that. I could be wrong. Anyway, I'm just trying to think of all the different variations right now off the top of my head. I should have had them written down. How about earthquake? Earthquake. So I'm like talking inward while I'm doing the lip roll. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. There are people who are better at that, obviously, but that was one of the craziest sounds that I had ever produced when I first did that. I was just blown away that a sound like that could come out of my face. D-Lo does like a really high-pitched version of that, which I can't do. And then there's what's like when I do it, I don't think it sounds that good, so I don't do it very much. Okay, let's talk about outward lip rolls. So some people will call this lip oscillations. So that's all just outward. And then I switched it to just lip bass. But you can do that, and then you can add a note to it. And it's really hard to do because your voice has to be humming a note that's similar enough to the note that your lips are buzzing that they don't create dissonance. And it's like with brass instruments, like when you play a trombone, for example, if you're playing and you're at the right spot in a room, there's actually like a positive feedback loop where it makes playing the instrument easier. Like the standing waves that are created are like at the right level, it's bouncing right back and helping the instrument make the sound. I feel like that's kind of what's happening between here and here. So it's like, but if I hum a different note, you hear that like beat there, or that's what they call it in like when you're tuning a piano, you're like listening for the beat, which I think is funny because this is beatboxing. But it's like when two notes are just when, let's say you're playing 440 hertz and 441 hertz at the same time, every 1 second they're like doing this. Oh, I can't use my hands and talk to you with putting my mic down. I need to use my mic stand. But anyway, they're both traveling at the same, like kind of off, and then they match up once a second. So they're off, and then they, and so you hear like a whoa, whoa, whoa. If you're hearing that with this, that means that you need to hum a different note or or buzz a different note or oscillate. Lip oscillations. Oscillate a different note. You can do it in fifths or octaves. Maybe even thirds, but if you do like one step, you'll get some weird dissonance. And that's the same with most music. And if you guys have questions about that, maybe I'll make more videos about those things in the future. And as far as this live stream goes, I will probably make a lot of shorter videos like this and make them more digestible and like put them in shorts or normal length videos. rather than in live stream format, and I'll kind of make them fancier and easier to digest. I'll put them all in there. Okay, so you've got your lip oscillations, and you can hum. I notice when I do high notes, it's really hard to get that tension right, so it starts doing that dissonance thing. And I guess what I'm doing right there is, I think it's called the foghorn sound, but it's the exact same principle. It's just you're using a smaller amount of lip so you can get higher notes. So rather than you go, and it's probably cleaner in most cases. I end up doing that sound way more than I do this sound, the foghorn, like vocalized foghorn or whatever it's called. And you can hit higher notes and stuff. It's just not quite as bassy, but I prefer it in most cases. It's also cool because it's the same shape as my zipper. And so I can... It's just breathing in and out, and I enjoy that. So anyway, I do that sound a lot. And these are all just kind of in the category of like lip oscillators. And if you're trying to learn the Liproll and you're having problems, just know that it took me months before I was able to get any sort of normal sound out of it. And it's not like I was sitting there like going nuts practicing all the time, but it just popped into my head a lot. And because you have an instrument that's attached to your face, you can practice kind of whenever, and you can potentially annoy people in the process. But I remember I was like in college and walking the halls, and there was no one around, so I just like practiced sounds, or I was outside like going from building to building or whatever, and I was just like, I was like, oh, I can't get that to sound very good. Oh, wait, let me make a video of that. And so any progress that I made, I would very quickly like, oh, before I forget that, I got to pull out my phone and record a little video. And I have like a whole album full of just like me learning a sound. And usually it's embarrassing because it's like pointing up my nose and all ugly looking and whatever. But maybe I'll share those someday. Who knows? I always found it was easiest to learn a sound from someone who had just learned it, unless they learned it in a totally different way. And sometimes you can approach it in different ways and get to the same result. But like hearing a sound in its final form wasn't super helpful for me to be able to learn it. I had friends that were beatboxing and stuff that I'd meet with in person. I was in the a cappella scene, and that really helped just to have more motivation and to work with other people and seeing it right there and having feedback. Wait, how do you do that? Show me that. Like, you can make so much more progress. So if you can find some community and some friends to beatbox with, that's great. Yeah, let's think of maybe what was I gonna say? I swear there's a few more different variations. While we're at it, let's just talk about outward bass sound. So that's an inward bass. Well, there's a sound called inward bass. I'm not going to talk about that. That one uses your vocal folds, but this is an inward sound, and you can combo that with outward sounds. So it was like the first bass that I ever learned. Babies can do it. It's just some horse lips, and then kind of tighten up the corners. And then you can control the pitch just by how tight it is. And this one it took me a while to be able to get it pretty accurate, but to be able to like get right on the pitch when I want to get there. And then to put different sounds behind it. So just by itself, it's with an S behind it, it's with an SH, it's, and then with humming, it's like, and then again, you can do variations of the note that you have here comboed with the note that you're doing here. You can do them in unison, a fifth, an octave, a third, whatever. I know that Gene Shinozaki does a lot of that. And Chris Solis, which Chris Solis, I met him, and that is one of the nicest, dopest dudes. I love that guy. Anyway, so yeah, and those guys are excellent musicians. Let's talk about doing that and then some of the other variations. So you've got, you can get like hollow. Oh wow, I lifted my self palate all the way up like I'm yawning. I'm really gonna yawn. You're probably gonna yawn too. And then boy, I'm going to come back to this and have everything written out so I can go bullet point by bullet point. I think that'll be better. The only thing that I can think to talk about next is going to just a different outward bass, which is what they call fart bass. So same note. This one's also pretty hard, especially when you get higher. You'll see Hiss do this sound a lot. He's really good at it. And then like Alexinho, and there's quite a few others. This is very similar to lip bass. I like this sound when I'm off mic, just because it has a lot more saturation. There's so much more high frequency content that people can hear it across the room, but unless you have an amplifier, they're not going to really hear low notes. If you do this versus if I did that on a microphone, they'd be similar volumes, but you probably heard those at very different volumes. The second one's probably a lot louder. And I put like a similar amount of air into those. It's kind of like if you're beatboxing on or off mic, it like really matters. And then your mic position matters too. There's the proximity effect. So when you're closer, it's obviously going to be louder, but it also is going to change your frequency response. You're going to have higher, or you're going to have louder low frequencies compared to high frequencies, but that low end drops off the further you get away from the mic. And so if you were recording this and you were recording this and then you normalized them to make them the same volume, you would have more low end in this versus this. This would have a lot more high end in comparison. Just so you know. And and if I'm wrong on any of this stuff, like I'm still learning music. I'm a forever student, always trying to improve. So like, let me know if there's anything that I'm saying here that could be improved upon. Yeah. Proximity effect. This is fun. Live streams. Fun. So now, if I want to build music, because that's what this is all for, right? You learn these sounds, and that's kind of like learning a word, and then putting it into a beat, that's kind of like making a sentence, right? And then like telling a story is doing the song, right? Like trying to recreate a whole song. It takes a lot of creativity, and you can know all the sounds, but if you can't construct anything very well, it's like doesn't do you a lot of good. So when I use a Liproll, oftentimes it's going to be at the beginning of a measure. So if I'm doing 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, that's my tempo. In fact, let's count this out with my loop station here. So that's 132 beats per minute right there. Okay, just making up something on the fly. That's a half beat. It's or like a half tempo, halftime beat right there. So 1, 3, bass, snare, kick, snare, 1, 3, and then you fill everything else with just kind of whatever you want. Whatever. And then if you want to do kind of like a 4 to the floor. Then it's going to be like, you're going to have a kick on all 1, 2, 3, 4. And then you're going to have a snare on, so 1, 2, 3, 4, you have all your kicks, snare on 2 and 4. And you're like, and I have my hi-hat on every 8th note, so on the upbeat. That's fun. Trying to think of more examples on the fly here of how to construct a beat. I learned a lot of this when I was trying to do audio production. I had GarageBand on my MacBook, and let me turn this off. I was just playing around, and I learned to play drums when I was 13, and I just learned with the Boots and Cats beat. So I was just doing, okay, I got to get the foot to do the kick drum on the 1, and then my left hand to hit the snare on the 3, and then the hi-hats on all of them, and it was really hard to coordinate. Eventually I was able to do it, and then I was able to kind of branch into other things. And I learned like a crash cymbal, for example. Oftentimes, like you see people hitting them all the time, but when I started producing music, I realized that a lot of the time it sounds the best when I do a crash cymbal on the 1, so at the same time as your kick drum. So sound like that. If I'm going to be looping, let me come up with an example here. So if this is 2, 3, 4. Okay, let's just call that the crash. And then I'll record my kick drum over here. So whoa, why is there so much reverb? I need to fix my loop station. You know what? Let's do some low kicks. Okay. Okay. And then we'll go. Got my kicks on the 2 and 4. And then let's add that crash. Okay. I got lost in the beats there. I feel like this is the quickest way to come up with music, at least for me. Having a loop station, and you just like throw anything down, and then you have immediate like response, like, oh, that didn't sound good. That did sound good. Keep going on that, and then you can come up with something. And like, for example, if you're trying to add a bass line to something like that, it has this octave drop feature. You can do that and add a quick bass line. And that makes it easier than having to like... And it's, if you're trying to loop something and have it be accurate for the whole song and not suck, you want to get it right the first time. It's a lot easier to get it right if you're just humming it versus like doing the lip roll, which I'll put this into perspective. How long does it take someone to learn how to sing? Well, as a baby, you learn how your vocal folds work, like how to control them. It takes you a long time to figure that out. And then to be able to like say words, you're a couple of years old till you're talking. And then after that, at that point you're singing once you're, I started singing really. I was in choirs and stuff when I was like 7 at the earliest, right? Like understanding how to like get a pitch and go to the next one. And there's people younger than that, right? But it took that long to even be able to control it. And then to have any sort of mastery, it takes longer than that, right? So now you have a new oscillator that wasn't really evolved to do this type of thing. You're just hard coding it, making it happen, or hardwiring it, whatever the word is, and you hot wiring. Okay, hard coding, hot wiring. You are making this thing do what no one else makes it do. It's new, and how are you going to accurately get that every time? Well, you can with practice, and there's people who are super good at it, and you can just like match pitch. You know, like they play this note on the piano. Dum, dum. Anyway, if you're trying to make like some sort of bass line, just cheat. Just use this, you know, unless you wait. Oh, my earplug fell out. That's why. Unless you have a need to do the other one like this. That sounds more like a kick drum. It just has that timbre to it, and then it's a different timbre, right? So they're just different sounds. But for a bass line, I can get something pretty accurate out of that. So I'm going to try. Let's come up with something. All right. I recorded it. See if I can get a harmony. Ooh, almost pulled my earplug up. Okay. That was all just an example. Let me turn the reverb off. That was all just kind of an example of trying to produce a song on the fly. I mean, that was just like I picked a random tempo, random note, random thing, and just kind of kept adding to it. And in the end, you know, came up with music. And did I like it? I mean, not necessarily. It was like, it was fun. It was fun to make. And you can just try that over and over again until you get something you like. And then you can go and record all those individual pieces professionally in a studio with all the correct gear and everything at that point. You know, this is just like your writing tool. And then when you're recording and trying to produce a song later on, it's all prepared and it's saved and it's like so accurate and exactly what you want here. Because in comparison, you basically just have lyrics and like a bunch of voice notes in a phone that you have to like go back through and play and like, is this it? Oh, I gotta like fast forward to like 27 seconds. Okay, yeah, this is and it's nowhere near as in my opinion, I don't think it's anywhere near as quick to like move from step to step as using a loop station. But I mean, there's digital audio workstations that have pretty much all these same features just built into it. Like Ableton can do so much of this stuff, and I'm not very good with Ableton. Like I should probably try to do a lot more live looping with Ableton just to see what it's capable of. Anyway, we've been live now for almost 40 minutes, and if anyone has questions about things we've talked about, you can go ahead and drop a comment on here, and I'll be paying attention, trying to answer questions, make more videos in the future. I live stream on a bunch of platforms. I'm newer to YouTube, so I just wanted to try to understand how this works. See if there's features where I can like live stream with another person. You know, do I have to use software to pipe all of that live stream into YouTube alone, or am I able to find other people who are currently live and have our live streams go against each other? Like, I don't know if those things are something that YouTube has available yet, or if they just don't have that technology built in. But I'll be trying more stuff. It'll be fun. And if there's other beatboxers on here that want to do any sort of collaboration videos or anything, I think that'd be a lot of fun. I might have some other friends do some videos in the near future here with me. But I think what's definitely going to happen is more beatbox videos, and then other things that I really am passionate about, like basic cybersecurity and financial things. I'm going to probably be talking about those on this channel as well. And just being a resource, just trying to make sure that if people have questions and I have answers, I can get the answers to them, and it'll be in a way that's digestible and understandable. And if any of you want anything specific, just let me know. I'm going to go ahead and end here. Let me see if there's anything else that I should try before I end. I don't think so. I think that's it. I'm going to go ahead and end. Thanks for watching.